messages that have been forgotten a long time of who you are and where you come from. Never forget the ones before us, because they are the key to the answer and to everything that's coming. One thing they shared with me is that what we need to get used to, which is going to be our humanity. We have free will right now. Lemuria is a type of, you didn't have so much free will. Very strict. So we need to start really learning how to discipline ourselves. Get ourselves right before the ancestors do come, because they're coming. As soon as we reach a certain vibration, the contact will be made. The white cockatoo, she represents unity. And her story is of unity. And Bill, we have a law over here, what we live by. The law of one, Yabruna. And it's possible. All we gotta do is tap into our blood. One drop of your gram of blood, Bill, holds up to so many terabytes, 7,500 to be exact. Think of that 1 gram represents 7,500 terabytes of memory.
Mm-hmm.
You got thousands of generation of memory in your blood and your water. That's how our ancestors record everything we do, through blood and water and spirit. Everything we do, every thought, every word is recorded in our water and our blood. And the Seven Sisters was all about the sacred waters. What sacred waters? The water within you. It's in all of us.
Hey everyone, this is Billy Carson, aka Forbidden Knowledge. Right before the amazing global sickness, aka the pandemic, I was out in Australia. I went out there to meet some incredible human beings, Evan Strong and Stephen Strong. And they took me out and put me through a ritual to get out into the outback where the Aboriginals have been for time immemorial. And I had a chance to go out there and do the sacred rituals, to get saged by sacred tree branches, and to walk in and pray with a magnificent megalithic tree, to hear them call out to the animals and wait for a response to give us the green light to go into the outback to start the walkabout. And as we got in there, we began to come across some of the most amazing sights I had ever seen in my life. It's called the Gosford Glyphs out at Carryong 9, just outside of Sydney. One of the most amazing places on the face of this earth. I made great friends that day as we camped out on rock faces and had lunch, saved a couple of straggling campers that got lost in the outback that actually recognized me, which was pretty incredible, and asked for a selfie. But other than that, Stephen Strong and Evan Strong have pretty much become experts in the out of Australia theory and have written books that have really inspired and enlightened people all around the world as to the direct link between the Aboriginal culture and Australia as being one of the starting root places for civilization on this planet. So please welcome Evan Strong, Stephen Strong, and Aboriginal Trudy to the show. All right, everyone. So welcome to another episode of the Forbidden Knowledge podcast. And I have my very good friends, people who I've met in person in terms of Evan and Stephen Strong. Nice to see y'all again.
Great.
And we also have an Aboriginal elder here, Trudy. How are you doing, Trudy?
I'm good. How are you?
All right. Fantastic. So today, what I wanted to do was to talk a little bit about some of the Aboriginal history, the oral traditions, the Gosford Glyphs, and the out of Australia theory, which you guys have done so well in your book. And of course, when I came out there a few years ago and met with you in person, you took me out to those Gosford Glyphs, and we got a chance to take a look at everything that was out there, and it was completely mind-blowing. And so I thought it would be a great idea if I got you on to talk a little bit about it, because sometimes people hear everything coming out of my mouth. So, and like, I wonder if he really went to Australia, and I wonder if he really met these people. And I wonder if he really went in the outback. So this way they can get that other perspective, but also hear from you, from the work and the research that you have all done, and an Aboriginal person, some of the history and knowledge that's there. so that people can get a different perspective, not just my perspective, but perspective from other people as well. Because I think it's important to always take in different perspectives and information so that people can really begin to paint a bigger picture and learn from everyone, not just one person. All right. So I'm going to ask you guys a few incredible questions, and I think it's going to be very enlightening for the Forbidden Knowledge family. The first one I want to talk about really is the Aboriginal culture, because I know that it's known for its oral traditions, and a lot of those traditions date back potentially thousands of years. And I want to just find out from Trudy if you can talk about the importance of sharing that storytelling and preserving the history of the Aboriginals.
Oh, it's very important, Bill. Like, our stories are our song lines. It talks about our existence of our blood, our history, our first, I guess, forefathers, which go, one of my family stories in totem was a man, and he goes right back a very long time. And he encountered the Seven Sisters when they were here. And they were here doing ceremony at the time on the east coast of Australia, doing sacred water ceremony, because in those times there was not a lot of drinking water. Yeah, we got rain. Yeah, there were swamps. There was the ocean. But, yeah, a lot of the drinking water was coming by rain. So they actually started coming doing water ceremony. And Gurrumbil, that's his actual name. And our family name is actually Gurrumbil. And he encountered these Seven Sisters, and like they say, the warrior in the sky that chases the sister. He was hunting at the time, and he come across them, and he never seen anything such as beautiful as them. So, yeah, the eyes tempted him over time. But he knew not to interfere with them while they were doing ceremony. So he sat back and he watched them. And, yeah, he was intrigued by them. But he knew he couldn't go near them. Like I said, they were doing ceremony. And what they carried, Bill, is they carried digging sticks. And we call them dawaligal. And on these digging sticks, yams, they were using for yam. But on the end of them was these really powerful crystals on the end of these sticks. Yeah, so they knew not to go anywhere near them because of those sticks. They were very powerful. So over time, Gurrumbil, he followed them and he watched them. And then when the Seven Sisters had a rest, a swim at the next water hole, he decided to make his move on them, on the two younger sisters, because they put their yam sticks down, see? They put them dawaligal's down. And they are very powerful. He knew he had no chance while they had them in their hand. So the moment they put them magic sticks down, dawaligal, Gurrumbil made his move and he snatched two of the younger sisters. And the two young sisters told him, these are the words that we've never forgotten and we know. Exactly what they said to Gurrumbil is that you can't marry us. We're your sisters. Blood of blood.
Yeah.
So we know all along, and we've known where our story is. And Gurrumbil, like there's a saying in our country, Bill, if you tell a story, the elders would say, if they don't connect it to the stars, walk away. Walk away, because they don't know the story. And yes, I can connect Gurrumbil's star. Is on our Aldebaran.
That's amazing, because you're really talking about the Seven Sisters, which is really the Pleiadian star system. Yeah. And all cultures, all cultures that I've researched around the entire planet all reference the Seven Sisters. The Egyptians, of course, the Aboriginals, the Europeans, the Greek culture and so forth. And of course, the indigenous natives of the Americas, the Hopi tribe, the Lakota tribe, the people of ancient Mesopotamia, the Sumerian, culture there, Akkadian and Babylonian cultures, called it Mulmul. And they all had this reference to these same Seven Sisters. And I think it's really an ancient story, because we can only see 6 of the 7 stars with the naked eye. One of the stars has kind of ran out of fuel and kind of shrunk down to a white dwarf, I believe. So it's hard to see the 7th star. But how did they know there were 7? So in some way, they either taught there were 7, or they were around at the time when this first story started being told, when you can see the actual 7. So it's a pretty incredible story. I'm glad that it's been passed down from generation to generation for thousands of years.
I can share that with you, Bill, why that seventh sister's so fading and kind of dragged behind. When they first came and see, this songline starts from Western Australia. I live on the east coast of Australia. These songlines of the seven sisters go all around the country. And that's something I'm working on as part of my role, connecting all these songlines and hopefully collate them into one big book. So every tribe, every clan, we put all these stories together and show the songlines of the movement of them around the country. And it started over, when they first visited, it was Western Australia, because Western Australia is much older than the East Coast of Australia. East Coast of Australia is only, 23 million years old? West Coast is 3.6 billion. So they were over there doing ceremony first, and we know here on the West Coast that mob over there are our older brothers and sisters. We migrated from over there to the West Coast, East Coast. But their songline starts over there, and it ends up over here on the West Coast, East Coast, as well as the South, the North, right through the centre. The stories all there. They come all the time visiting, but the first story over in Western Australia, there were 7 hunters. They met under the tree, and these 7 hunters took them all around the country and showed them our beautiful country. Showed them the animals, the emus, showed them everything. That's the first story. And one of the young warriors in that group didn't want the younger sister of the 7 sisters to go. He actually cried to her and told her that he would be so sad if she left. So she stayed back a little while. But then she had to go and catch up. And same over here, Goodham Bill took 2 of the younger sisters, and he even caused the first, I guess, close to Ice Age, because the earth nearly froze over. He was that shifty and clever. The other 5 sisters couldn't find the 2 sisters because he had 3 campsites. They knew of the original one, but they didn't know of his other ones. So, yeah, they end up going and doing ceremony, and they called on the winter. That's what they call the winter stars, the Warrington. We call them Warring. Warring means winter in our language, and Warringana means the 7 winter stars. And yeah, that's how they get their name, the winter. They brought on the first winters, and they flushed him out that way because they turned around and they said they didn't want to kill him. So this other 5 sisters had to travel to the east. Now listen to this, Bill. They had to travel to the east to get the sun to warm back up the earth. But in saying that, they flushed it. He said they didn't want to kill him. They nearly killed everything on the planet at the time. So they had to travel to the east and get the warmth of the sun to bring back. That I'm still trying to figure out, that part of the story, because I obviously have never been to the east and know that part yet. I can only speak on what I know here. And yeah, that's how they got the 2 sisters back. But then again, he was stubborn. He took the last one. Same thing, the last sister, the last star. Then, she went and joined them. But in that story for my family was a message, moral principle story. It was by law in my family of men. Choose wisely in your wives. That was the law that was behind. They had to choose wisely in their wives in future and not make same mistakes.
Right. That's incredible that I see how the stories develop like a metaphor. So the story is really like a double or triple entendre. It has multiple meanings stacked on top of it. It's not just a story about the celestial space. It's also a story about civilization. It's also a story about personal relationships. So it's like a triple entendre. It really has more deeper meanings within one. So I can really see now how these verbal handed down stories for thousands of years can convey such a vast amount of information, because you can get such a huge lesson out of one story. That's really incredible. Yeah.
And sites remind us, like we call the stars and the bush, that's our library. That's our history. That's where all it's recorded.
Right.
And it is practice. We take them back, the kids and the youth, we take them out, then we tell these stories. And we keep them alive with the kids.
And see, with those stories, as you become more initiated, it's more and more is added to it.
Yes.
So often what's recorded in some of the books when the first white people came through was just the very basic version of the story. All the nuance comes later, and adds on. And I know the time we've spent with elders, they'll tell us the same story. And all of a sudden, there's a little extra bit and we're all on it. Oh, wow.
And one important point, Billy, we need to talk about here is around Australia, there's about 500 different tribal groups, but there is only one story that every tribe in Australia knows back to front. And the narrative is nearly the same all the way along. Everywhere else, the tribes relate to the tribal estate they live on. But this one superimposes on top of every other story. There is no tribe in Australia that doesn't know the Seven Sisters story because it's the beginning.
Yeah.
It's the beginning of everything. And that's why every tribe must know that story. It is the essential part of original culture. It begins with that.
Right, right. And can you give me a brief description about the book, the Out of Australia theory? Like, what is it? What is it about? And how does it separate itself from other creation stories?
Brother Bill, I'm going to be honest with you. I speak on behalf of my elders too. They've said we've never left this land.
Mm-hmm.
We've never left.
That's basically what the book is about. When we went out, when we were first given ceremony and told we could go out to different tribes and elders and talk about this, I was told at the very beginning, we tell the story we're given. We don't add to it. And very simply, what I was told time after time after time is we are the first people. We went out and told the other people. We gave them stories. Well, our elders have told us the stories we have in the Bible come from here. The story of wandering through the desert for 40 years. There isn't a desert that big in the Middle East, but there is in Australia. All of it comes from here. So what we've done is when we've gone out to different places, elders have shown us information and told us stories. But every elder we've spoken to started with the same thing. We did not come from Africa. We came from here. This is our land. So what we've done in our books is we've walked on the country.
Watch this video for free at www.4bk.tv or download the app on your smartphone, Fire Stick app, Samsung TV, Roku, and other app providers.